They never saw it coming. One moment, the sky was blue. Next, it was raining fire. A city of 15,000 people, wiped from the face of the earth in a single day, then forgotten for almost 2,000 years. This is the day Pompeii died, and the mountain that turned paradise into hell. Imagine living in a beautiful coastal city, sun shining above, laughter filling the streets, merchants calling out, children playing, and the smell of freshly baked bread drifting through the air. Life is good. In just a single day, everything is about to vanish. This is the story of Pompeii, a thriving Roman city that was frozen in time by one of the deadliest volcanic eruptions in human history. 2,000 years ago, Pompeii stood proudly at the foot of Mount Vesuvius, near the Bay of Naples in Italy. Around 15,000 people lived there. Merchants, bakers, slaves, and nobles, all enjoying the luxuries of Roman civilization. The streets were lined with bustling shops, taverns filled with laughter, bathhouses echoing with conversation, and grand villas decorated with colorful frescoes. The volcanic soil around Vesuvius made the region incredibly fertile, producing vineyards, olive groves, and crops that fed thousands. But what made Pompeii rich also made it vulnerable. The soil's fertility came from the same volcano that loomed silently nearby, a volcano most people didn't even realize was dangerous. It hadn't erupted for hundreds of years. To them, Vesuvius was just part of the landscape, calm, green, and eternal. Beneath the surface, the mountain was waking up. In the year 62 AD, Pompeii was struck by a massive earthquake. Buildings cracked, temples fell, and statues crashed to the ground. It was devastating, but the people rebuilt. Romans were used to natural disasters. They believed it was just another test from the gods. For years after, smaller tremors continued to shake the city, but no one thought much of it. Life returned to normal. Then, one summer day in 79 AD, the mountain gave its final warning. Animals acted strangely, springs dried up, and small tremors were felt again. Still, no one realized what was coming. On August 24, 79 AD, just after noon, the world changed forever. Without any further warning, Mount Vesuvius exploded with unimaginable force. The top of the mountain literally blew apart. A giant column of ash, pumice, and gas shot nearly 30 kilometers into the sky. It was a Plinian eruption, a type so powerful it was later named after Pliny the Younger, the Roman writer who witnessed it from across the bay. At first, people were stunned. They watched in awe as the sky filled with fire and ash. And soon, small white stones, pumice, began to rain down softly at first, and heavier and heavier. Within hours, the streets were blanketed in thick layers of ash. Roofs started collapsing under the weight. The air grew darker and thicker until day turned into night. People grabbed whatever they could, coins, jewelry, food, and ran. Some tried to flee by boat, others sought shelter inside their homes. Many thought it would pass, but the mountain wasn't done. As the eruption continued, the sky roared. Thunder and lightning flashed inside the massive ash cloud. Rocks and debris pelted the ground. The city was suffocating, filled with choking ash and poisonous gas. Breathing became almost impossible. Some citizens fled toward the coast, desperate to escape by sea. Among them was Pliny the Elder, a Roman naval commander and scientist stationed across the bay. When he saw the eruption, his curiosity and courage drove him to act. He ordered ships to sail toward Pompeii to rescue anyone trapped along the shore. But as his ships approached, the falling ash and hot stones made the sea boil and the air unbreathable. Pliny collapsed and died on the beach, overcome by toxic fumes. His bravery would be remembered forever. Throughout the night, Vesuvius continued to erupt, a storm of fire, ash, and destruction lasting more than 18 hours. But the deadliest part was still to come. Early the next morning, the giant column of ash that had been rising miles into the sky suddenly collapsed. What followed was a pyroclastic surge, a deadly cloud of superheated gas, ash, and rock racing down the slopes of Vesuvius at over 100 miles per hour. When it reached Pompeii, it obliterated everything in seconds. The heat alone, more than 400 degrees Celsius, was enough to kill instantly. People caught outside were flash heated, their bodies frozen in place where they fell. Those hiding indoors were buried as roofs caved in. Families were found huddled together. A guard was discovered clutching his sword. A dog was found still chained, curled beside the door it could never escape through. Within minutes, the city was gone. Pompeii disappeared beneath more than 6 meters of ash and pumice. When the eruption finally ended, Mount Vesuvius stood silent again. The surrounding landscape was a gray wasteland. Towns, farms, and thousands of lives were lost. The nearby city of Herculaneum was buried too, preserved even more completely under volcanic mud. For almost 1,700 years, Pompeii lay forgotten, hidden beneath the earth. Over time, nature covered it completely. No one remembered exactly where it was. Then, in 1748, a group of workers digging near Naples uncovered ancient walls, frescoes and strange shapes in the hardened ash. They had rediscovered Pompeii. As excavations continued, archaeologists uncovered streets, buildings, and even the remains of its people, perfectly preserved. When they noticed hollow spaces in the ash where bodies had decayed, they poured plaster into them. The results were haunting. The plaster casts revealed the final moments of Pompeii's residents. Faces twisted in fear, arms shielding loved ones, people frozen in their last breath. It was as if time had stopped. Pompeii became a window into the past, a perfectly preserved snapshot of Roman life frozen at the exact moment disaster struck. Archaeologists found loaves of bread still in ovens, graffiti on the walls, gold jewelry, pottery, and even political slogans scratched into stone. Every detail told a story. We learned what Romans ate, how they built their homes, what jokes they made, and even what pets they kept. It was one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in history, and one of the most tragic. From this tragedy, the world gained invaluable knowledge about ancient life and the terrifying power of nature. The disaster of Pompeii reminds us of how fragile civilization truly is. Even the mightiest empire can fall in a single day. Today, Mount Vesuvius still stands over the Bay of Naples. It is quiet, but not dead. Scientists monitor it constantly, knowing that one day it will erupt again. Millions of people now live in its shadow, just as the people of Pompeii once did. And beneath that silent mountain lies a story carved in ash, a warning from the past, frozen for eternity. The ghosts of Pompeii still whisper to us through the ruins, telling us not of their death, but of how suddenly everything can change. If you found this story fascinating, make sure to subscribe and join us again for more journeys through history, where the past still breathes beneath the ashes of time.